Shalom, and welcome back to B'nai Noach Academy, Thoughts on Prayer. Please remember to hit the like button, to subscribe, and of course, most importantly, to share this wisdom and inspiration with friends and family. So a recurring question that came up in several comments on some of our previous classes is, how come, Rabbi, how come you shake? How come you sway? Now, the truth is, and I must admit that it's certainly best not to do so, especially if people are watching you when you're speaking publicly. Perhaps it could be somewhat of a distraction. But on the other hand, people do move around. People do have expression. But here is really the real reason. But I will throw in another question to it, and we'll learn a lesson when it comes to prayer and to service of God. There's a question that one can ask if anybody has seen any depiction specifically of Jews praying, especially the more religious Jews, the more observant they are, they tend to sway back and forth or sideways like this while they pray, when they get into the fervor of prayer. And the question is, what is that all about? What does that really mean? Now, you could just say, it's almost like a communal effect. One person sways, so the next person sways, so it just becomes a thing that we do. But the truth is that if it was wrong, then somebody would stop it at some point. At least somebody would discourage it from continuing. But that's not the case. It's almost encouraged, albeit it's not done so explicitly, overtly. No one tells anyone, sway while you're praying, but it's something that you grow up with. Anybody who's grown up praying to God in the Jewish religious community tends to just kind of pick that up. What is this all about? Well, the answer is, there's a verse in the book of Psalms. Look in chapter 35, verse 10. 35:10. And it says there as follows. King David says, "All my bones shall say, Lord," or God, "who is like you?" From here we learn that when one prays, when one is talking to God, although you're just using your mouth, and perhaps you can say your mind, your thoughts, that is, your heart, your feelings, but really, you are praying to God with your entire being, with your entire body. Thus, at some level, the body swaying in the rhythm of the prayer, in the fervor, so to speak, the excitement, the spiritual excitement, the emotional intensity of the prayer, thus the entire body is involved. In fact, there's a very interesting law in Judaism, and certainly this can, most certainly in my opinion, this applies to everyone, that when you pray to God, although you're only using your mouth, and like I said, your thoughts, your heart, your mind, but still your entire body has to be prepped properly for this encounter, for this occasion. Namely, that if somebody, for example, is unclean, meaning that they have to have a bowel movement or go to the bathroom at some point, and they're not clean, then they cannot pray to God. That prayer is considered an abomination. But you say, but I don't use my stomach to pray to God. But you're unclean. Your entire being is talking to God. It's the mouth, which is, so to speak, the voice piece, the microphone that actually conveys the message. The message of whom? The message of the entire body. Thus, when we pray, and the same applies to when we study. If you look at any depictions of a proper study hall with a studying Talmud, typically you'll see this motion. People are moving, people are excited. You're involved. I don't do this intentionally. I try to be focused on the fact that I'm sitting in front of a camera, but perhaps it just happens automatically. Yes, I'm excited about what I'm talking about. I'm not just a robot. A robot can just speak without moving. When you are excited about something, and something means something to you, you move, you shake, you're involved. Of course, and I do accept I would call it the constructive criticism, perhaps. I do accept the comments that, of course, I have to tone it down, make sure it doesn't happen too often, too much, that it shouldn't become a distraction. I want you to focus on what I'm saying, not on what I'm swaying. Oh, that's a good one. Anyway, Please share my comments with me and let me know how you feel about this comment.